Hello, 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 and thank you for joining us at the Movement. We are the Movement, a motivational organization veered to educate minds, empower, nurture, and transform. As Annette so affectionately says, we are a move meant to move. She always rolls her neck, a move meant to move. We want to help you thrust into your purpose so that you can start living your best life and win. We tapped into some winning moves. Let me tell you something. There are people winning all over the place now. And we want you to experience that same thing. It makes no sense to live beneath your possibilities. It's time to get rid of your limiting beliefs and have some real discussions so we can deal with some real issues, so we can be about real life. Right, Annette?
That's right. And we come every week and we come to inspire you to get to the next level. Sometimes we get stuck. We did a teaching on stuck and we just stay in one place and, we do is kick it up mud. But I believe if you open your heart and your mind, we got something for you tonight. So thank you.
Yes. You could have gone anywhere else, but you stopped by here and we don't take it lightly. We appreciate it, and we would love to hear feedback from you. Also, feel free to use the chat box. And when you want to type in an amen or type in a comment or something, let us know that you're here. So we're glad to have you, and we're going to start our discussion right now. So hello, Sharon. How you doing, love? Good to see you again. Tonight's topic that we're dealing with is selective hearing. That is something that we all have a problem with. Hey, Kyle. We all have a problem with selective hearing. Men, particularly, since we got one man peeking in right now, men are so bad at taking directions.
Yeah, we see you guys.
Usually, when they're faced with challenges of assembling something, you ever notice, and we talked about this before, when a man gets something in a box and he has to put it together, he very rarely reads the direction. And that is just so true.
Yep, that is true.
Another thing that happens is they hate to admit when they're lost. Before GPS, oh my goodness, and sometimes even with GPS, before GPS especially, a man would hate to admit that he's lost. Didn't want to pull over and ask nobody for directions. Nope. You just want to drive around lost, because I know I got a good sense of direction. And I know that everybody on here knows a man like that. There's a man, whether it's brother, whether it's uncle, cousin, father, husband, we all have a man like that we know. And the thing is, a lot of times, and we pick it on the men tonight, but I'm just going to pick on them. A lot of times what I like to refer to is that they suffer from SHD, which is selective hearing disorder.
Yes.
So, regarding our topic tonight, I want to lay down just a few notes here on the top of the discussion. Mm-hmm. One thing to understand, we the society that we live in today is weird. We live in a technological society, and because of the technology, it's taken away the aspects of human conversation. We don't have conversations anymore. Or like I heard this one commentator say, he was like, I'm paper Bible saved. Y'all computer Bible and iPhone Bible saved and iPad Bible saved, but our paper Bible where we had to flip through pages. And some of y'all, if you picked up a Bible right now, you wouldn't even know what to do with it. And when you're off of it for so long, you do become like dependent on something else. But then there are some people who are paper Bible saved and refuse to come to technology and just mesh the two. But the one thing, it has its pros and cons, because with technology today, we're able to do things like this, and it's very hard sometimes to get people to, participate, because, they don't know nothing about that. They don't know nothing about it. They barely know Facebook. Oh, what's a Zoom? I get that all the time. But on the other hand, technology has replaced the element or the aspects of human interaction and conversation. We text, we email, and we FaceTime instead of visiting. So some of us are stuck in that place. We're stuck in the place where we can't communicate, and some of us just refuse to come out of it. So when we get stuck, a lot of times we get stuck on the stuff that we've heard or learned before, and we can't open ourselves up to receive new word and new ways and new innovative thoughts. And the minute that we're hit with a truth that's considered a new truth, or that was something, that's something new. I don't know what y'all got going on over there. You know, a lot of times we'll close our minds off to it and we don't want to receive it.
That's true.
So, and I'm going to share something with you later in our discussion regarding that, because I already know what some of the things will come at me with. But I want to lay down, as y'all know, I got to go there each and every week. I do have the English lesson for you.
Yes, you do.
My word, I have 2 words today that I'm going to deal with in transitive and intransitive state. Hi, Yolanda. I have 2 words that I'm going to deal with. And the first word comes from selective, which is the word select. Transitively, that word means to choose or pick out. Huh? Intransitively, it means to make a choice. Now, for those of you who don't know what transitive and intransitive is, it's a tense of the verb. A transitive verb is a verb that has movement or connection to the other side. Intransitive means that you know, but it might not necessarily move. And I'll give you an example, and I'll do this every week when I have somebody new on, because I really want you to understand, because I use this a lot. Deuteronomy 1:6, when the children had been roaming around in the wilderness, and they stopped at the mountain, and they were finally about to go through. And the Bible says, you have dwelt here long enough. The word dwelt meaning you sat here like in cement, even though you know on the other side is a land flowed with milk and honey. Now, the next couple of verses later, it says, now turn and go, because I have set the land before you. The word dwelt previously and the word set is the same word. Mm-hmm. Both of those words, they're just 2 different words, but we know when we deal with the lexicon, we understand that it has a different meaning. So set and dwelt are the same, but one is intransitive and the other is transitive. The intransitive one was dwelt because they knew, but they wouldn't move. We be not able. And there was something in between us. We can't get around it. We can't do it. They're too big. It's too many. But then he says, I have set, meaning that whatever is between you and your blessing, your purpose, your destiny, your vision, you have an automatic connection to it and it can't hinder what you do. Mm-hmm. So your verb is transitive, it has action. So not only do you know, you can move. So select transitively means to choose or pick out or to make a choice, which is transitive is choose, intransitive is make a choice. Now I chose the next word, which is hearing, which here is the verb that comes from that word. That word transitively means to perceive or to become aware. Intransitively, it means to have the capacity to perceive and learn. So what we do is that we make a choice to pick out what we want to perceive and become aware of, and that's what we decide we're going to learn, as opposed to hearing the whole truth and letting that sink into your spirit. So that's what we're dealing with tonight. We're dealing with selective hearing, and a lot of us have it. A lot of us have it. I'm telling you, I've lived my days. Yes. And there are times, even now, that I do operate in that thing called selective hearing, and it is no joke. So I'm going to share our screen with you. We got a great discussion. And before I get, too into it, I want y'all to say something to me. Everybody chat something in. Chat something, type something in the box. Either chat your name or say hello or tell me where you're from. Y'all do that while I get this PowerPoint going. We're getting it going here. Do I see some people coming on? Do I see some people typing? Come on, you can find it. Hit participants, hit chat. See Annette. Oops, I spelled that wrong. Okay. Hello, ladies. Thank you. Thank you, Yolanda. Everybody else probably trying to find it. That's all right. Y'all get used to it because we use this a lot. And I want you all to be mindful to use that chat. Tell your neighbor, use that chat. The preacher always say, tap your neighbor. I just heard Jake's earlier say, slap your neighbor. I'm like, what? Jake's trying to start a fight. I don't think nobody want to slap nobody. So, all right, so let's get in. Let's get in. Here we go. We are so excited about tonight. We got a good one. I didn't get it going here. All righty. This is our topic tonight. Selective hearing. Are you going to listen or are you going to ignore? You have a choice. So when we know that, we know what selective hearing is now, and we know what happens when we choose or not choose to put certain information in our hearing. You know, we make a mess of things. We really, really do. So I want to take you somewhere. I want to take you into my thoughts tonight. And in my thoughts tonight, I want to just summon you to hear ye, hear ye. I'm going to move these babies out of the way and bring them back down here. Hear ye, hear ye. Now, I had a friend, he's gone home to be with the Lord right now. But, you know, when the pastor say, turn to your neighbor and say, he turned to me one day, this was all the way to the sermon, and he was just lipping some words. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, I can't hear nothing he say because my battery's died in my hearing aid. When I tell you I wanted to just fall out of the chair, I miss Caesar Quick. But Elder Caesar Quick, he went on home to be with the Lord. But I'm going to summon you that, you know, this is something that we might need to think about. When I put it in the natural state, I'm just asking, do you need a recharge? Because when we die, when our spirit dies out, when we have, we feel kind of down, especially when we get, you know, into what we feel is our purpose. And sometimes you really, really know. You know that's what you're supposed to do. You know that's where you're supposed to be. But things just don't seem to be moving. How many of you been there?
Yeah.
Been there. Where you know that this, beyond a shadow of a doubt, you heard God and you saw your vision, you saw your destiny. And you took what you envisioned and you made that thing live. Like, okay, I'm gonna speak it. So you envisioned it, you saw it in your spirit. That was the dream. Then you took that dream to a vision. And when you take it to a vision and you stand back like that painter looking at a blank canvas, you start to envision what you saw in your dreams. So when you're envisioning that thing, you see all the colors, you know how many people gonna be there, you know what the song gonna sound like, you know what the sermon gonna be like, you know what the church gonna look like, you know what the building's gonna look like, what the organization is, how it's gonna be, and you know how you're gonna travel, and you're gonna write your books and do speaking engagements, and you're gonna step into your record deal, you know, all the stuff, whatever it is that's your purpose. You are starting to envision in your mind how it's going to be. But when you take that leap and you flappity, flippity, flappity, flippity, flappity, you know, you done jumped off that cliff. Oh, Lord, ain't no wind between beneath my wings. What else going to do? So you flippity, flappity in the wind, and then things just don't look the way they're supposed to look. So we become discouraged.
Yes.
We become so discouraged. And in these moments, we're like, Caesar Quick. We see the mouth moving. We see people doing stuff. We see things happening. But ain't nothing happening over here because, you know, at the end of the day, ain't nothing moving. So therefore, I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to even try and pursue it. Leslie, I saw your hand up. Did you want to say something? Or were you just like saying me? Because you could just type it in the chat. But I've been there so many times. Let me tell you, I think the first business I started with $400 and didn't even realize I needed an occupational license. That's just how green I was. But you know what? I was so determined. Oh, there's LaShavia. Hey, baby. I was so green, but I was determined. I was so determined to do exactly what I knew was for me to do at that moment in my life. So because I only had $400, that didn't stop me. I'm like, well, I'll make the rest of the money to pay the rent the next month. I'll just get the lights on and I'll get the water on. Okay, I'm good. And then in walks a person to inspect, one of the state people, the county people rather. And she's like, you know, you need an occupational license. Thank God I didn't have a client in there. And thank God nobody, you know, there was nobody in there but me. I was setting stuff up. And I had been working clients. And I was like, well, where do I get that? She started laughing and she gave me a card and told me where to go and what to do. I went and got it that very day. So at the end of the day, it didn't stop me when she walked in and told me I needed something else.
Yeah.
And when she told me I needed to make sure that everything was state board regulated. All that did was gave me a recharge. And sometimes we let our battery die out because blows will happen. And we'll let the battery die out and we're just so afraid to get moving again. Like, no, they shot me down. I'm done. That's it. It's over. It's over. It ran its course. I'm good. No, you're not good. You have to get up and make something happen.
Yeah.
So if you need a recharge, sometimes you just have to say it. Because there are people, you're supposed to have people around you. If you've been following us, then you know to surround yourself with the right people. And if you don't know the people, you can reach us at info@movementworldwide.org, or you can reach us in any of our social medias DMs. Y'all see our stuff every week, because trust me, we saturating you. So if you need a recharge, you call the people with the charger. We'll get you right. So you won't just be sitting there and hearing and seeing, but you'll actually be able to participate. And you'll actually be able to get yourself into the place where you can hear the right things.
Yeah.
Because a lot, it doesn't make sense to cut that off. Now, there's another thing I want you to understand is that you're in transition, and transition is a complete process.
Oh, gosh.
When you transition, you can't transition your arm and your foot and leave your ears in the last level.
Yeah.
Everything about you moves to the next place where you've transitioned to. It's a complete process. We talk about it all the time. Well, it's a process. Yes, it's a process. But when the prototype, when you've gone through the paradigm shift, remember the prototype for your life has changed. So that now you have to look at the new prototype, the new diagram that's for your life, because you have the paradigm has shifted. So now you have to go and see, oh, I got to get rid of this, got to get rid of that, got to do that. Oh, okay, let me bring my hearing up to the next level, because guess what? It's different. And therefore, when you get to that place, your transition becomes a complete process and not partial. Because we all have to keep growing, and we'll be growing, we call growth evolving. And I heard Bishop Jake said this, I don't even know what sermon it was in, but I love this line. He said, the evolution of becoming.
Wow.
He called it the evolution of becoming. And whatever it is that you are becoming, you are evolving into that every day. You're evolving into that new you. You're evolving into the place where you're supposed to be. You're evolving into the person that you're supposed to become. And most of us, we'll see it, but we become afraid of it. And therefore, we go back to what we know. Well, I'm just going to stick with, or no, because they had told me that I'm not supposed to do that. I'm not supposed to say that. I'm not supposed to be here, there, everywhere, whatever. Yeah. But what we have to do is put ourselves in the process that we understand that evolution, when we're evolving and transition, it's the evolution of becoming. We're becoming something different. And instead of tuning it out and tuning the right truth out and, and calling it, because a lot of times, now I ain't gonna lie, it's a lot of junk out there. Don't get me wrong, because I'm by far not the new agey person. There's a lot of garbage out there. There's a lot of people that are saying a bunch of junk, but that's where your spirit of discernment comes into play. You can't just be saved on Sunday. You have to be saved all through the week. So if you're saved all through the week, then your spirit of discernment is going to decipher the foolishness. And you got to use that. You better brush that tool off and stop taking everything that somebody says at face value. It's the evolution of becoming. You're becoming something different. And when you do that, you've got to learn, instead of blocking it out, you've got to turn up the volume. Because now you're in a new dimension, you're in a new level. You're past that old thing. You're past the flippity flappity of the wings. Now you have to take all of the lessons, all of the information, all of the stuff that you've learned, and you got to allow yourself to evolve into soar mode. And a lot of us stay in flight. And we teach this in our class that's upcoming, that eagles in flight, they, you know, they have such a big wingspan, they can't spend a lot of time flapping and flapping and flapping and flapping. They eventually have to get to that place where they get to soar mode, where they can stretch the wings and they don't exert as much energy. But we put a lot of energy on the front end, just to run it, just to run it, just to run it, just to run it. Don't know what to do. Running over this church, running to this conference, running to this class, doing this, listening to this person. Oh, you should do it this way. Oh, if I was you, I would do that. Well, if it was my business, but it's not their business. It's not their vision. It's not. Stop building everybody else's stuff and stop building your own. Turn up the volume on your own stuff.
Yes.
We spend a lifetime building a vision, and now I should do a disclaimer in that. Let me tell you, I ain't trying to tell y'all not to go to your church, but we spend a lifetime sometimes building the ministry of somebody else. That's their vision, and it's great. You are serving in a local ecclesia, but if it confines you and sucks up your time, you have less time to be creative and build your own empire, your own wealth, your own stuff. You just get up and you do the clock thing. You get up, you eat your breakfast, you go to work, you clock in, you work all day, you get home, you pick up the kids, you go home, you cook dinner, you go to Bible study, you go to bed at night, read your little Bible, fall asleep on the news, you sleep, then you get up the next day and you complete the same cycle day after day after day after day after day. I get dizzy. I would get so dizzy. And I've always wanted more. I've always believed that there was more. I've always believed that there was something else impactful that I'm supposed to do, and I'm not afraid. And we want the same for you. So recharge yourself and know that this transition that you're making, Leslie, Val, Constance, Carrie, Diane, Annette, Yolanda, LaShavia, I think I got everybody else that's on here. Oh, Brenda, hey, Brenda, you are girl, you're transitioning. Sharon, all of you know that transition is a complete process. Complete process. And you're involved, you're engulfed, or you are right in the center of the evolution of becoming. So instead of muting it, turn up the volume. Boom. How you like me now?
Okay. Oh, you just dropped the mic, huh?
Drops mic and passes to Annette.
Do you hear the words that's coming out of my mouth? That was made famous by Chris Tucker when he was talking to his partner who spoke limited English.
Coming out of my mouth.
Yeah, so sometimes we don't hear the words that's coming out of our mouth, or either stuff that's coming out of our mouth, other people don't hear it. So first thing I want to talk about on this wonderful day is we need to learn how to block out the background noise. We have to learn how to block it out. You know, there always will be some background noise. And when I was really studying this and I was looking at how in the natural, how you would block out noise, and they say you use an earplug. And what that does, it'll stop you from hearing certain things. And I would like just to suggest that maybe we need some earplugs so we won't hear naysayers. We need earplugs so we won't even hear ourselves, because the noise can be so great that it consumes you. I remember when I lived in Bunnell, and I lived right by the railroad track, and when I first moved in the apartment, it drove me insane. But all of a sudden one day I didn't hear it anymore. I had gotten used to what was going on. And be careful that you don't get used to negative naysayers. Be careful, because after a while, if you keep hearing it, somebody say, oh child, that's not gonna work. Oh, you never be anything. After a while, you get used to that, and that becomes the norm. And that's why you have to block out all that stuff. And one of the things, we were growing up and we didn't want to hear any noise, we would take towels and sheets and put them at the bottom of the door to block out the noise. Maybe you have to learn how to, those sheets and towels represent people. Sometimes you got to kind of stuff them away, because people will cause you to miss your vision, your dream. So we have to, even with people, sometimes we have to relocate. You got to find a special place. You got to find a quiet place. A lot of people like to go walking on the beach. Some people like to just sit in their room, whatever. But you have to make sure you get to a point that you can block out every stuff, because it becomes almost overwhelming, because we hear so much. You know, this going on TV, somebody's talking there, you know, I mean, constant, even now, even as we speak, somebody shooting up a city. So we have to learn how to say, you know what, I'm not going to watch CNN, ABC, CBS, none of that. I'm going to step away because I got to hear God, and I got to know where I'm going. I'm like Anita, there's nothing wrong with going to church. I go every Sunday. But sometimes we just have to steal away. Because even in church, sometimes I've actually sit in church. I remember one day, particularly, it's been many, many, many years ago, and I asked God, is this all it is to it?
Come on now.
How many times I'm going to shout? How many times I'm going to get greased down? How many times, and I nothing against the preachers, but it was where I was. It was where I was. So I had to really get to a place in my life that when I walked into the church, everything that was going on at home, I left it at home. So we go and we raise our hand because, we do that automatically. You do know that some of that's all of that's not Holy Ghost. Some of that is your limbs just know to raise. Your mouth just know to say amen. Certain things you do it on automatic pilot. So a lot of time when people jerking and stuff and bucking, a lot of that is just learned behavior. And then, I'm not saying people don't feel the Spirit of God. What I'm saying is that it becomes, we become on automatic pilot. That's what I'm trying to say.
It becomes like a reflex.
Yeah. So, we have to block out so we can hear. Because I believe God is trying to speak. And, he's talking, but we're not hearing him because we're listening to everything else. He's telling you to go right, but you're going to go left because while you're hearing everything else. So we have to learn how to block out the background noise, because the brain has the ability to filter out stuff. Our brain can filter out what we don't want to hear or can't hear, don't want to hear. I remember it's on Facebook. This little boy was in church, and the church was loud. That's the way I like. I like it loud, but he was screaming, right? It's so loud in here. His mama clunked him side the head, right? And he still. But that's how we are sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you may not be opening your mouth to say it, but like that little boy, you mouth it because it's still stuff that's blocking you from getting to where you need to be. And also you need to hear it, not only hear it, but did you listen? See, to hear is perceived with the ear, sounds made by someone. To listen gives one attention to the sound. So oftentimes we perceive it with our ear, but we don't give attention to it.
Come on.
Yeah, I can look, when I'm in that zone, I can look right at you and don't hear nothing you said. I can look at your mouth. My ear hear it, but I'm not giving the attention to the sound. All it is a womp, 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 womp. And that's how it is in life. You have to be careful. Make sure that you not only hear, but you listen. Listen. We are, especially ladies, we want to get our point across. A lot of time we really don't listen. Somebody's trying to tell us something, but we just got to say, I just got to get this out, because I'm guilty. Because I'm going to say what I got to say if I have to write it down and mail it to you. So we have to get to the place that we hear. Because once you get to the place where you can hear and listen, you'll be surprised of stuff you've missed. Especially if you're married, because my husband, I'm going to tell him, listen, I'm going to say what I got to say. You with the hair. But sometimes, God said, listen to what he's saying. He's saying something. But, we get so caught up in life that we don't listen. We just hear. And even on here, sometimes we want to make sure that you don't just hear us, but you listen and you get an understanding where we're coming from. And we often do a disclaimer that we're not psychologists or psychiatrists, but we're lifeologists. And what that means is that we've lived and we've experienced some things. So we've taken what we've experienced in our own lives, and then we begin to share it with you guys. And even ourselves, because I never know what Anita's going to talk about. When she says something, I'm like, okay, that's good. But I don't know what she's going to say. But what she does and I try to do is to share with you the experience. And I just don't believe that God allows us to go through things just to go through them. I think it's because we need to use that to help somebody else, because really there's somebody who need it. Because exactly. I need it. Because this week was a little rough. So, I need to hear some things that kind of push me into destiny, because some of us will walk, some of us will crawl, some of us will run, but some of us have to be snatched into destiny. And so I'm one of those people literally had to be snatched. So that's why it's so important, you know, that we share with y'all, because we know what it takes even to get where we are. And we are a long way from where we're going, but we sure getting closer every day. So, but not only that, the next one, Nita, please. We the altitude barotrauma. Barotrauma refers to injuries caused by increased water pressure or altitude. So there will be pressures in your life, because what happens with barotrauma, it causes pressure, which causes injuries to your ear. So oftentimes in our life, we have injuries that we go through. There's some things that cause us discomfort and difficulty. You know, it causes us undue stress when we don't know which way to go. We don't know what to do. But what happens with the barotrauma is that with time, it'll heal itself unless it's a severe case. So just know that regardless of what you're going through, that too shall pass, that you will be healed. But you got to get to a place in this walk that you say, okay, this is what I'm called to do. This is what God had put on my heart. And I don't have money. I don't have provisions. But you know what? This too shall pass. So, you know, even though you may have injuries and even though you've been hurt, because life, listen, y'all, somewhere along the line, we all been hurt, but you know, you can walk through that thing. It's not always easy. So barotrauma saying, even though there may be injuries to my ear, even though there may be injuries to my life, that I can overcome if I just stay the course. The key is to stay the course. And this is why, in a severe case, of course, you may have to be like a person with a severe injury to the ear. You may have to seek professional help. But in a case like everyday walk of life, that too shall pass. I promise you, y'all. I'm a living witness. The thing I thought would kill me, the thing I thought that I just couldn't make it, I'm still here. I'm still here to tell the story. And you know, I've been to times in my life, and I said, God, if you don't fix it, I don't know. I don't know. So just know that we all have had trauma. We have all had the paratrauma experience where we have had discomfort, you know, attitude, not only attitude problem, attitude problem. So we all have gone through some things. And next we need to unclog my ear so that I can hear. The reason we can't hear sometimes is because of what is clogging our minds and our ears. You know, when I was studying this, I didn't realize that they suggest that you don't use Q-tips.
Right.
In your ear. I didn't know that, because what we do, we put in a foreign object in our ear that don't need to be there. And even in our life, could it be there's some foreign things in your life that don't need to be there? Could it be there's some things that God did not call to be in your life and it's clogging you? People are clogging you. Situations are clogging you. Jobs are clogging. There's something clogging your ear that you can't hear when God is speaking. And one of the things they said you do, especially when you're flying, is to swallow. You swallow. Your muscles open up. Every time you swallow, the muscles open up the tubes in your ears. And so when you swallow, it pops your ears. So because I remember I flew a couple of times and I didn't realize, child, I was all green. I had never flown before. I said, oh Lord, what's going on? So you chew gum and you swallow. So you have to swallow in life. And there will be some things in life we got to swallow. There's some things in life. It's not going to always work out like you want it to. I mean, you can have plans, you can have things laid out, but it's not always going to work out the way you want. My mom told me this, and I'm sure other people have heard this. My mom told me to learn how to chew up the meat and spit out the bone. So you got to learn how, regardless of what it looks like, learn how to swallow. They say, you know what, this thing didn't work out. You know, this Okay, I plan to go right, but God, it didn't work out. Okay, I plan to get my my organization off the ground. I said, by today it's going to be flowing. It didn't work. You have to learn how to swallow that. And
Come
so
on.
I'm swallowing it, and I'm making sure that I get my ear to the right place. Because maybe, God, just maybe I didn't hear you right. Maybe I was so busy trying to do it my way that I didn't hear you. And also, they talk about decongestant. It's a drug that shrinks the swollen membranes in the nose, and it makes it easier for you to breathe. So sometimes there has to be some shrinking. See, we get so big-headed. God said, hold up. Wait a minute, I'm shrinking you down because I need to get you somewhere. I'm trying to get you there. And your head is so big, so I have to decongest you.
Mm-hmm.
I have to shrink those areas in your life that has become swollen. It has become big. So that's how you got to know. You got to hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. If you can't hear the words, how are you going to be able to do whatever you've been called to do? If you can't hear the words, how are you going to be able to get that vision off the ground and get that mission off the ground and do the things that God have called you to do? And again, I want to ask you, ladies and gents, do you hear the words that are coming out my mouth? And if you are, then you need to make sure you take those words and begin to put them into play. If he said it, it's going to come to pass.
Come on.
Just like I said earlier, sometimes you just got to swallow it. You got to say, oh, God, I miss you this time, but I'm still here, and I'm ready to be decongested so I can get to where you need me to be.
Wow.
Can you hear what I'm saying? It's not just the hearing that improves life. It's not just the hearing, the ear that improves life, but it's also hearing. This means this. You have to not only hear with your ear, you have to hear with your will. You have to hear with your intellect. You have to hear with your seat of your emotion. You got to hear with your heart. Because I remember a long time telling somebody this: who are you going to believe, what you see with your lying eyes and what you hear, or what God is saying? So we have to get to the point that we begin to hear past our ears. Because half the time we don't hear anyway when somebody's saying something to us. So we have to hear, so okay, God, because, and the reason I'm saying that, because in order to have a relationship with God, he don't speak like me and Anita speaks, audible. He speaks to our hearts. He speaks to our will and our intellect. He speaks to his word. So you have to be able to open up your heart to hear what he's saying. Because if you don't, you'll miss out. You'll miss what he's saying. And the first thing I want to talk about is the quiet the voice of people. You quiet the voice. The quiet you become, the more you can hear. You have to quiet the voice of people: disappointment, disillusion, despondent, fear, finance.
Come on.
You have to quiet those voices, because what happens is this: your vision starts here. You have this huge vision. By the time you're finished, fear, disappointment, I can't do it, despondency, disillusion, people. So you start here, and by the time you get through with hearing the voices, by the time you get through hearing what can't be done, so you have to, the quieter you become, the more you can hear. Because let me tell you something, some days I can remember coming home like, oh my God, it was just so much. Just like all of a sudden, like, okay, I got to find a space. And I remember just going out to the park and walking, just me and God.
Because you're so overwhelmed.
Yes, you do. It becomes almost too much. So when I got my quiet time. And ladies and gents, stop trying to be everything for everybody.
Come on.
Because when you do that, you miss out. You're trying to make sure, Big Mama, okay, you got it. I mean, I'm not saying nothing's wrong with trying to look after the family, but you're trying to do this job, and you're trying to go to church, and you're over about 10 auxiliaries. You're at church more than the pastor. You're so big, and then you have not found that place that you can hear. I guarantee you, if you just take a few minutes of your day and just set aside, it's all right. Those dishes gonna be in there. You could sweep the floor because I'm notorious. You
Yes,
put
you
the
are.
glass down, I'm wiping.
Yep,
You know?
you and Carrie.
Yeah. But you have to take that quiet time to hear God, and just to take from your day. I have to take, because sometimes my day is so full. I have to just digress. I have to quiet down. I have to, because I have a bad habit. I say it all the time. I replay what happened the day. I don't know why I do that. So, and I think about it, and I find myself like almost in a zone. But you have to get to a point where you quiet yourself. As she said, decompress is good for the soul. Thank you. So you have to have a time of decompression, so you can not, because if you don't, you're not only not good for yourself, but you're not good for anybody else. So that's so important. We try to do so much. And next, Anita. Here today, gone tomorrow. We have to use ear protection. You have to, number one, turn down the volume of your life. Number two, you have to have your ears checked. Number three, limit loud signs. Number four, be careful what you put in your ears. Here today, because we only have one life. And so we have to take whatever we have and live it to the fullness. So each day, I really, really, really try to do something that's going to further what God told me to do. Because I've been on the job 35 years, so I've used so much of my time furthering somebody else's cause. And I'm not walking in the things that I should walk in. So I had to learn to hear today, because tomorrow is not promised to me.
Come on.
So I'm trying to hear today, so I walk in what I've been called. I'm trying to hear today, because what we have, somebody needs to hear it. What I have to hear today, so I can share in the grocery store, wherever I'm at, that I can share. Not always Bible thumping, just tell somebody, oh man, it's beautiful today. You can just start a conversation. You'll be surprised at the people who are hungry just for somebody to tell them something. I do it all the time. I go hold a conversation, don't get a name, don't get a phone number, because people, I don't care what society says, and I don't care what you hear on TV. Yeah, there's some bad stuff going on, but there are people who are waiting. Sometimes I've even hugged people. A lot of times I ask them, could I hug them? But, different stuff, because we never know. So here today, because that person may need that thing that's in your belly. And I think sometimes we think we're so insignificant, but you're not.
Come on.
Here today, because you may be gone tomorrow, and use whatever you need to use to protect your hearing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Reduce the noise population.
Pollution.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I got population on my notes. Boy, I tell you. Okay, so you have to, you got to change your surrounding. Especially in big cities. Because I grew up, I grew up in Bunnell. And so we had one red light. So when I came to Daytona, y'all, now I know for y'all that live in the big city, but for me, it was a culture shock. Because I'm not, it just noise, people hustling, bustling, going and coming. And I came from a place where everybody knew you. They knew your mama, they knew your grandma, everybody spoke, and if you did something, they went and told your mama, and if you're not careful, they'll whoop you, and they tell the mama whoop you too. So I came to Daytona with all this noise and hustle and bustle. Of course, I know Daytona is nothing like bigger cities, but for me, it was like I said, it was a culture shock. So we have to learn how to reduce the noise, because it can become overwhelming. And it took me a minute, because the biggest thing that happened to me, like I said, there was a train. That was the most noise that I had. So we have to understand that we have to reduce reduce the noise. And sometimes you have to move away, and we talked about it earlier, find your place. And so because if you don't reduce the noise, you begin to tell yourself, maybe I can't. Well, I don't know if I can do this, because you keep hearing like, you can't do it, you'll never amount to anything, you know, you don't, you can't, you won't. And then it becomes almost overwhelming. And finally,
sorry. And I messed this one up. I meant to put silent with a T.
Oh, that's all right.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, yeah. Okay. Listen has the same word as silent. Sometimes we just have to take a moment, and I said it earlier, find our space and just meditate, because you can become so overwhelming. And so much of my life I spent in a bad place and couldn't hear nothing, couldn't hear nobody, just live my life, you know, go to work. Like Anita said earlier, I had that clock, you know, nothing to look forward to. Okay, I started as a sister and a surrogate mother to my siblings, and then I had my kids, and then I became a mom, and I came a wife, and I was a sister. But then when my kids were all grown, I had to really figure out, who am I? Mm-hmm. Because I spent so much time in my life not listening to my mother, not listening to nobody, because I thought I was grown. I thought I had it all together. And all I really needed was not so much to listen, but what I needed was silence. Because in my silent time, that's when my healing came. Mm-hmm. My silent time, that's when my delivery came. And the reason why is because I could actually hear. I could hear past all the noise and all the stuff that was keeping me from where I needed to be. So it's not just the hearing that improves my life, but it's that I need to hear with my heart, my mind, my soul, the seat of my emotion, my will. And when you begin to hear past your ears and allow God to get in their heart, things will begin to change, because stuff you never thought was you could hear is there. Things that's been being said all along. That's why we say this, and I'll finish. That's why we say this especially when we read the Bible, we'll say, "Oh, I didn't see that," and God said it was there all along. You just wasn't listening.
And that is so true in that.
Yes.
So true. And some of the lessons we already knew. Some of the outcome we already knew, but we did not listen, and and it causes us to not live the truth.
Yeah. And
when we live the truth or live in truth, that, you know, it makes a difference in our lives. And I know that we, when we're talking, you know, this lesson tonight is kind of strange. It's interesting because a lot of us don't want to admit that we are here, that we've been here, or that we travel down this road of having selective hearing, blocking out what we don't want to hear and not accepting, you know, what we need to hear. And I want to give you a scripture. There's a scripture that I wanted to just touch on real quick before I go into my points. And it says, it's from 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 3. For a time is coming when people will no longer listen to sound, wholesome teaching. They will follow their own desires, and they will look for teachers who will tell them whatever their itching ears want to hear. And one of the things that I run into a lot, especially in my business, in one stream of my transformational business, is in the music industry, is that I run into these people who have a whole lot of yes people around them. It happens in church too. It happens with pastors and leaders, where they have people who tell them what they want to hear. They tell them, you know, based on their desires. Oh, Valerie said, OMG, I knew the lessons, but I didn't listen. I knew excuses. Oh, excuse the typo. They said excuse the typos. I knew the lesson, but I didn't listen. And that's a lot of us. We didn't listen, and therefore we don't live the truth. We live a false representation of the truth because we decided to receive what we wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And not necessarily what needed to be done. I say it all the time. you know, if I knew then what I know now, a whole lot of things in my life would be different.
Yep.
So I was pig-headed. I was pig-headed when I was young. Nobody could tell me anything. You know, the one thing that I learned later in life is that when you finally grow up and your brain stops developing and you finally reach that point of real maturity, you start looking back and looking at the time that you've lost. And instead of us sometimes picking up the pieces and trying to make better choices, a lot of times we will just continue to make stupid choices, trying to prove everybody wrong. You've already lived wrong. So what you trying to prove everybody wrong for now? Because you're only going to spend another decade trying to prove everybody wrong. And when you look back, you wasted so much time. Just own it, live the truth, admit the fact, I just didn't listen. Therefore, I use my selective hearing, so I'm where I am. And I can honestly tell you, there are a whole lot of things in my life that are not where I wanted them to be, or where I thought they should be. But the wonderful thing about it is right now, I am so much living right in the center of God's will for my life. I know exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I'm grateful to God that I'm still breathing, because obviously there's so much that more that he's trying to do through me. So therefore, I'm going to be about my Father's business, and I choose to listen instead of getting people around me who tell me what I want to hear. No, tell me the truth. I want to live the truth. And when you live the truth, you can hear, because perhaps you ever seen that person who's at the starting line of a race and they miss the gunshot, or they miss ready, set, go. They miss it. I'm here to tell you, ready, set, go. Don't be so deaf that you miss go. Because when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yes. Yes.
And don't let people stop you. Don't let foolishness stop you, and dream killers and haters and naysayers. Have your ears wide open and make sure you're living the truth. Make sure you're living the best version of yourself. Start cleaning that mess out. Become the best version of yourself, and not for other people. They're going to see me shy when they see me. No, you got to do it for you. Do it for you. Type in, I'm doing it for me. I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing it for nobody else. I'm doing it for me. And you've got to do it for you. You've got to, I hear people all the time, oh, I want to lose weight. Oh, yeah, so everybody can see how fine I'm going to be. Trust me, I'm on that trip. And I sure ain't doing it for everybody else, because guess what? Where I was, I still thought I was fine. I do not suffer from low self-esteem at all. Howsoever, where I'm going will be better for me. And I don't care about fine as wine or whatever. All I care about is getting where I need to be so that I can live longer to do what I need to do. So I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm not doing it to prove anything to anyone else. I'm doing it for Anita, and you've got to do what you have to do for you. If it means going to school, if it means opening your business, if it means whatever it means, you've got to be sure that you hear right. And when you hear it, no, it ain't going to be pretty. You might have your moments, but trust me, those moments will not last forever, because you heard go and you took off running. Eventually, you're going to get there. But you got to keep hearing the sounds. And when you hear, like when people are cheering you on, that's when you get real good. But you start, I remember one time I was doing I think it was the 600. I can't remember. It was in school somewhere. I don't even remember which grade. And so we're running, and it's a long run too. So I'm just running. Then my legs start getting tired. My chest burning, throat burning, because I hate running distance. Talking to you, Diane. Hey, I'm talking to me too, darling. But I hate running distance. And when I'm running distance, it's like I start palpitating and getting tired, and my throat starts hurting. And then my heart I'm like, I can't do this. I'm not gonna make it. I need to figure out how I'm gonna finish this race. So, but when I heard the voices, when I heard the cheering, that did something to me. When I heard people cheering, I was like, oh, they cheering. Boy, from out of nowhere, I started getting this burst of energy. Has that ever happened to you?
Yes.
This burst of energy from nowhere, and you just start moving, and you start doing things that you didn't know you could do. And that's what happened to me. And then I call that the alarm. And what we have to do is move with the sound of the alarm. We've got to learn to move when it's time to move. We can't afford to wait. We can't afford to waste time. Time is not going to wait for us. Time is going to keep moving whether we're moving or not. And if you don't keep moving, you're going to miss it. And I don't want to miss it. And I'm not going to miss it. And I don't want you to miss it. I don't want to see you miss it. So we're going to get this thing together. I'm trying to see where my battery is because my cord is acting up. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I got time. Yeah, I'm good. I just need to fix this cord. Let me go back to share. And the other thing, move with the sound of the alarm. Move with those cheers. Move with those voices. When you know that you're doing something that's helping somebody, that's benefiting somebody, it makes such a big difference in your life, and you'll start seeing the value of what you do, and you'll feel a whole lot better about it. And you'll start seeing, oh my God, none of this is in vain. I'm doing exactly what I was supposed to do. I'm right where I was supposed to be. I'm right in the center of the wheel. I can't stop now. So I'm going to keep moving. Now, you see that little picture down at the bottom, the heart pulling the brain?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to understand something. Just because we'll throw that little passage where the Bible said to guard your heart and your mind. So I gotta put the blockers up. I'm not gonna hear. Guard doesn't mean close. When you're guarding your heart and mind, it does not mean to just close it and then you're not gonna hear nothing. You're just gonna close it so that nothing can happen. Ain't nothing entering my hearing. Ain't nothing coming in my way. Then you ain't gonna never get nowhere. Because when you look at the word to guard transitively, it means to protect. When you're protecting or preserving, to stand at the entrance, to watch over and to prevent anything else. You need a filter. It's a filter. It is not meant for you to stop it up and close it down, because sometimes when I go to a concert, I can see what's going on the other side. I can hear what's going on the other side. But guess what? They got those barricades up and the guard is standing there. Nope, you can't come this way. Unless you have on a certain badge.
Yeah.
You can't come this way. So when you're guarding your heart and mind, it doesn't mean to close it. It means that you've got to grab the stuff that's supposed to be there by the hand. It's like, come on, man. Oh yeah, we're gonna get this. We're gonna receive this. Okay, you return the sender. And I'm a return to sender individual. When some foolishness comes to me, I will return it to sender in a heartbeat. But I'm going to be alert of everything that's going on around me. Why? Because I live the truth. And I'm guarding, but I'm not closing my hearing. Because when you close it, you can't hear anything. And sometimes it's loud. Sometimes it's busy. Sometimes there's a lot going on and you got to sift through it. But guess what? You will adjust to the new sound.
All right.
Your ears will adjust. Just like Annette said, she adjusted to the noise that was going on outside her window. Your ears will adjust to the new sound. And you've got to allow yourself to walk into that place to hear your truth and adjust to the new sound so that you can decipher what you keep and what you throw away. That's how you live the truth. Because we want to see you win. And there's nobody's going to win if they don't learn how to elevate. We have to evolve, people. We cannot stay in yesterday. We have to evolve. There's a new way of doing things. But guess what? The Bible says Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. He does not change. But the methods by which we do things changes constantly. We didn't have the internet all these years ago, 30 years ago. No. We didn't hardly have it 20 years ago. It was very, very new and very rare. But now, we can't live without it. Can't live without Wi-Fi. What's your Wi-Fi code? What's your Wi-Fi? What's your Wi-Fi? I'm telling you, when the power knocked out in this house, you should see us scrambling. Carrie be scrambling too. Boy, we cannot live without that Wi-Fi. For 3 or 4 days when we first moved into this house, Wi-Fi was not connected and we couldn't figure it out. And then they changed the company and we couldn't get nothing for like 3 days. We had to wait on the technician. Come to find out they done changed the whole complex. I knew they did, but they said I could keep my old thing, but they didn't tell me how to call nobody. They just shut everybody off that didn't move to AT&T. I like Comcast. I wanted Xfinity. But boy, I couldn't get on my Wi-Fi. That thing plagued me. I was really in a bad place. And I could do without the TV so much, but I need my Wi-Fi. And that's the thing. We didn't have it years ago. And now there's so much that happens with it that we can't hardly live without it. But you need to use it to benefit everything that you do. But don't be so closed-minded. I ain't never getting a computer or an iPhone. I'm just going to use my flip phone. Well, darling, it don't even work anymore. So this is it, people. This is what we have to do. This is how we have to live. This is how we have to grow. And we have to learn to keep moving. That's right, Valerie. We keep moving. We keep it moving. We don't stop where we were. We keep it moving. That was woo-woo that said that. We keep it moving. So now, you know, we're at the end. I want to open up, you know, if anybody wants to say anything, want to, you know, ask a question, want to give a little word of confirmation, or just want to say, you know what, this blessed me. Whatever you want to do, you can unmute your mic. I'm opening up the floor, or if you don't know how to do it, just wave or raise your hand. However, I just wanted tonight for you guys to understand the power of really learning how to hear, and not, you know, we always say, I'm waiting to hear God. I'm waiting to hear God. And God speaks in so many different ways, but we tune our ears off to just the simple things in life. Simple things. Simple things. Sometimes I'll see a commercial and I'm like, that was for me. That thing spoke to me something terrible. Sometimes I'll be watching a movie, or I'll watch a show or something, and there's one line that sticks out that says something to me, and then I'll write it down because I want to keep that. Sometimes I'll walk outside when I'm walking the dogs and I'll see something. I remember I saw these squirrels. I got so involved in those squirrels, and they were running from tree to tree. I'm like, how they do that? They running from tree limb to tree limb, and they ain't missing a beat. It's like they know that the tree limb gonna hold them. They know that they're gonna make it. They know they're gonna make it to the limb. And I was like, man, and it spoke to me personally for what I was going through in that moment. That I had to look and see that even though sometimes when I'm walking in this place where I am now, that I'll be walking and I'm moving from limb to limb. But guess what? God says he will never leave or forsake me. He got me. He gonna catch me. He gonna make sure that I make it to the limb. Yeah. I'm not gonna fall. But if I didn't hear the word in that, I would never have probably come out of that funk I was in. But I had to look at some doggone squirrels. And I was about to get mad at them because when they was moving from tree to tree, they was taking the stuff, and this little stuff in some trees around here, it has this little yellow debris, and the stuff was falling on me. And I was looking, I'm like, what is that? And it's squirrels. I'm like, oh, they're moving fast. And I learned how to sit there and listen and get that. That's that silent place that Annette was talking about, that you have to learn that silent and listen have the same letters. And sometimes you have to steal away to get your mind settled. You need to have a little moment to meditate. When I walk in the mornings, I go down to the lake, the first lake in my house, and I'll sit there and just stare out at the lake so I can hear. Yeah. I just want to have a peaceful moment so I could just I'm just listening to, to nature. And then something will come to me and it'll say, I need to go do this. I need to go do that. I'm like, oh, okay. So we don't even hear our own thoughts. No. We don't, because we got so much stuff floating around that we can't even figure out how to get out of the situation because we can't hear ourselves. So we want to encourage you tonight. Brenda, you got the mic open.
Yeah, I might as well. I thoroughly enjoyed it, been there, done that. Don't plan on going back there again. And like you said, our minds get cluttered because we got so much going on. But we also have to face the responsibility, and I'll just tell on myself, we be putting that stuff in our basket.
Come on.
We pick it up because there is an adrenaline rush to fixing things but then when we get tired of being the one called on to be the it, and we don't know how to get out of it because we took our basket and took that person's and that next person's problem. And what we end up doing is enabling them to continue to depend on us instead of seeking God. And so that means I'm in God's way. And I did that too many times. I hindered God's plan for other people. And people may say, but God is all powerful, but I can still get in his way because there is free will. So we got to be mindful of that. And time is just very important.
Yeah.
We have to understand the gift that it is, and it's not waiting on us. And like Nita said earlier, if I knew then what I know now, yeah, it would be very, very different. But here's the good part about it. What I know now can still enrich my life and impact others' lives, and I keep moving. And that's just the thing. We have to keep moving. And God does not just speak within the four walls of the air-conditioned place with the cushioned pews or the hard seats. We have to stop that. We created that in our minds. Last time I checked, I don't remember Jesus just going in a church to speak the word.
Come on, Brenda.
We have to be real mindful.
Yeah.
We don't become so religious that we forget to live for God.
You know, I got this for you. I picked this up just to throw it at you. We will say, boom, drop, DJ, bring it. But you know what? We and you're right, you're so right, Bryn, that we pick up that stuff and we bring that stuff onto ourselves and don't even realize that we have created the mess that we're in, and then we want to blame it on everybody else. Nobody held a gun to your head and said, take on this person's problems. Nobody held a gun to your head and said, join 50 ministries. You made a choice to do that. But when you learn to be truthful with yourself, and we always say, the truth will set you free. Well, the Bible says the truth will make you free. And when that word make, y'all know I'm going there, that word make is a verb. And transitively, it means to behave. So the truth will cause you to behave properly. Exactly. And when you live in truth and you be truthful with yourself about everything that's in your basket, that Brenda says, you'll start removing it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. Boom, I had to hit you one more time.
And stop spending so much time trying to do a good thing when you should be doing the right thing. There's a difference.
There is a big difference between the good thing and the right thing. Wow. That's good news. That's good news, Brand.
So I'm just
Constance done made her way to the camera now.
But I'm just excited for what God got. Hey, Miss Constance.
She said, oh, Lord, stay out of my business, Anita and BJ. Y'all don't know me like that. Boom, right thing. Of course, that's boo-boo.
Of course it is.
But yeah, so good people, we are excited about your future.
Yes.
I want to see everybody on here stepping into their place because you have something special. You are still living and breathing, and you still have the use and activity of your limbs, then you are not done. There is still more for you to do. You have just tapped the surface of who you are. And we want to see you become the better version of yourself, the best version of yourself. And like I told you guys before, Colonel Sanders didn't become a part of the franchise until he was 66 years old.
Yeah.
He sold chicken on the side of the road, and then he went and bought a bar. You know, he sold the chicken during the Depression. Then he bought a gas station, a filling station that they called it, and then he sold chicken out of the filling station. And then somebody told him about a franchise at 66, and what if he had said, oh no, then none of y'all will be eating KFC. He did not turn away from that franchise opportunity for the first. True. And it was then that he became a millionaire. He wasn't a millionaire when he was selling chicken on the side of the road. He wasn't a millionaire when he bought the filling station. He became a millionaire when he got into the franchise. Why? Because he listened. He listened, and he did not think that his age was going to hinder him. You're not too young and you're not too old. You ain't too nothing. You just might be too lazy or too blind or too deaf or too stubborn to do what you're supposed to do. But trust me, if you see it, it is not by accident.
Anita, can I say something?
Sure.
I need to brag on y'all, you and Annette, a little bit. For those of you that are new on here, the kind of conversations that's having tonight, if you are not having those conversations in your life, in your circle, then there needs to be some changes.
Oh,
Show up Wednesday night, because you can't go further unless you're around people that challenge you.
Yeah.
I listen to this because they challenge me, they push me. I need to hear this kind of conversation. If this kind of conversation does not happen at the least once a week in your life, something's wrong, but you can change it by just showing up here on Wednesday night. It's an easy fix. It's just an easy fix.
Come on. That's it, Brand. It is an easy fix. And it is true, because you need support. You are not meant to live alone. You're not meant to be alone. You're meant to have people in your life who are going to push you and challenge you and tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And, that's what we have on here. That's what we have in the movement. We have people who tell the truth. We share the truth. So we want everyone to know the truth and be free. So, all right, good people. This has been so good. This has been amazing. And if you have not yet, make sure you go and get. We got 3 authors on here tonight. We have Brenda Jackson with Culinary Roots Cookbook. Hey, Carrie. She's been somewhere cooking, I can tell. It's the truth. Culinary Roots 1 and 2. And she has an online magazine.
Yes.
She's a publisher. So Brenda ain't playing. And it's the bomb. The 2nd issue is coming out and my articles are late. So I got to get with me into Claudette, or she's going to be wringing my neck. She's already wringing my neck on Trello. And we also have Annette Anderson with Walking It Out. She released her ebook a few weeks ago, and it is incredible. I use those quotes almost every day.
Oh, praise him.
I do. I go between yours and mine. And mine is, I dare you to declare. You cannot know me and not have seen I dare you to declare anywhere. Anywhere you see it, the link is somewhere. It's in my about, on my Facebook. It's in my bio on Twitter, on Instagram. It's on my page all day, every day. And I'm putting it in my stories. Why? Because I've learned the power of affirming yourself. I've learned that when I affirm, when I put myself in the position to speak those things that are not as though they were, things start to change. Nothing's going to change in your life if you don't start putting the positive words in your mind so that the right stuff can come out of your mouth. We still live it off and let there be. So what makes you think that what you say can't move?
No, you're right.
It has power, but you have to have the right stuff in here. So you got to transform the mind. You got to transition all of those words, pull up the bad words, get rid of them, and start affirming good stuff. Get in the mirror every day. Look at yourself. Tell yourself off. Even as hard as it may be, you got to get in the mirror every single day and declare your affirmations. And I even say, I dare you to declare, because I know what it does, because I know what it has done. Yes. So y'all got some book buying to do. Get them cookbooks. In her first 2 cookbooks, there's a whole lot of stuff that you can't eat every day, though. No. You just started Eat Well, Live Well, Be Well, and some of you will be with us tomorrow. Yay! A lot of you on here tonight will be with us tomorrow night, and trust me, I can't wait to reveal my numbers and pictures and everything else. It's going to blow your mind, and Brenda got a nice presentation for you. We even got Carrie talking. So,
whoa,
real good. Yeah. So it's going to be real good. So y'all have a blessed one. And always, we're here every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Same place, same time, same login code. No excuse. If you know how to use Zoom, be here.
Yes.
She's talking about, what am I going to say? I'm going to have to go over her little script with her tonight, Brand.
Okay.
So make sure you join us and we talk. Pay attention to your emails. Check your spam. Anything from the movement worldwide. Make sure it comes to your inbox. We send out a lot of goodies, a lot of information, a lot of resources, and follow each other. You know, like there's a lot of information. Go and find Brenda's magazine. I'm going to post it on our movement page and Google it so you guys can go and check it out. It is amazing. I read that thing. I read it. I think I read that thing from cover to cover like 3 times. I just love it. It's so beautiful. I'm like, this is just too pretty to be online. It need to be just on the shelf and coming in. But it's beautiful, but it's a start. Let me tell you, she ain't wasting no time. And she is fabulous. And Sister Girl turns 60 in a few minutes. Okay? I want to be like her when I grow up. That's what I'm saying. I want to look like that. That's why I'm losing weight. All right, good people. Y'all have a blessed one. Thank you for joining us. Annette, you want to say something before we log off?
No, good night. Thank y'all so much for indulging us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
We appreciate you. Mwah. Y'all be blessed. Have a good one.